Okay. Okay, I just have to ask, what was this? Or this? Why was the art weird this week? Was I the only one who noticed that? I love this show. But, like, I don't know, something was up. With that said, hello everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to one of our weekly, the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat discussion videos. God, that never gets old. But with that said, we're here to talk about episode 7, Life of Falsehoods. But before we get into the video proper, a quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, set notifications to all, let all of AnyTube know that you're here. By the way, let me know, do you guys still see the dislike button? I've been hearing about that. I don't know if it's still there. I assume it is. I don't know. It is for me. Let me know because I'm curious. But with that said, let's go ahead and talk about this week's episode, shall we? Because, yeah, it seems as though we're kind of speeding through the whole balor thing, which I think is ultimately probably for the best. I don't think that, like, because I've seen some people be like, you basically just told me that you've never seen Spice and Wolf, and you are correct. I have never seen Spice and Wolf, but I'm sure that would be the exception, because I'm not gonna lie, when most fantasy series do the whole, like, and now we gotta do the merchant thing, it's usually boring. And it's not even the first time I've seen it done in an isekai either. I'm thinking specifically of, like, Bookworm. Now, with Bookworm, it introduces, like, one of the best characters in the show, in Benno. Lutz and Benno are, in fact, the reason to watch Bookworm, because mine is awful. But, yeah, so it's normally, like, it's very hit and miss, right? With Bookworm, I enjoyed the character, so therefore I was perfectly fine with the story, although I did find the merchant stuff to be kind of boring. Whereas with this, it feels like the people behind the show were like, we get it. we understand. This part is kind of boring, we're gonna kind of skim through it, right? The director was just like, okay. The director and the person in charge of series comp, which is just the head writer, were like, okay, we know that this part is probably not the most entertaining in terms of, like, an anime fan's perspective. Maybe if you're reading the light novel, it's more entertaining, but as an anime fan, we might want to just kind of speed through this. And it doesn't feel fast, right? It's just sort of like, we don't really spend time in Lug's, like, day-to-day as Illig. You know, he's just sort of like, it's just there. He's already been there for a bit. The dad trusts him already. The mom doesn't quite like him because she thinks he's a bastard. And I don't mean like, ooh, that jerk. I mean, like, literally, like, he was fatherless, you know, like that, like the actual meaning of bastard. But so, like, yeah, she doesn't really like Lug because she sees him as essentially Jon Snow, you know, like that's, the way that Kat viewed Jon Snow in Game of Thrones is kind of like that. And I get it, right? If you're the mom, like, yeah, this kid would be like a reminder of, like, this infidelity issue, right? So it's like, yeah, I get why she's angry. But really, the head of the Balor family is actually just doing our boy Lug a favor, which, you know, it's like, oof, well, he's doing more like Kian a favor, but still, it's like Kian's son, so it's like he's doing Lug a favor, and like, and yeah, like, it's, I don't know, I feel bad. Like, I feel kind of bad for him, because I assume his wife probably let him have it. But yeah, like, in fairness, like, the whole scene of them, like, talking about the moisturizer thing was cool. I have to give him that, because I was sort of like not feeling it. Again, like, the talks of, like, of like economics and trading, I was just puts me right the hell to sleep. So I was prepared to just the entire episode, right? But then my eyes woke to the sounds of awesome as we find out that what they're building is moisturizer, which is like, oh, this world doesn't have moisturizer, so Lug technically is the inventor of moisturizer in this world, which is really funny. But because he invents moisturizer, this is his plan to go toe-to-toe with the other women's shops in the area, right? It's like a women's cosmetic shop, but also sell sweets while you're there too. Very clever idea, but as Maha points out, not the only place to do it in the city, right? Like, not the only place that sells cosmetics plus sweets. Like, even like cosmetics alone, there's tons of cosmetic stores, but even ones that sell cosmetics and sweets, not the only one. So if you want to stand out above the crowd, you just gotta shout out loud that tomorrow's the only thing you'll see. I watched Goofy movie recently, forgive me. Maha points out, like, if you want to stand out, you have to do a little something extra, and that's when Luke's like, I got it, and he invents moisturizer, right? Because everybody's using these beauty products, their skin must be really dried out, so moisturizer just sort of reinvigorates the skin, and this is great. But what this also does is bring in the fact that the other companies would want to know how to make it. Luke is smart, doesn't teach the Balor company how to make it either, doesn't tell anybody how to make it, just keeps it to himself so that the Balor family can't get rid of him once he's gone, and that this way the other companies can't steal it, and then all of a sudden the Balor company is the only one making moisturizer. Because the only way to get it is by farming it on the two a day whatever family estate, right? You have to go there in order to farm it, so ain't nobody else making this ish. And it leads to a really funny scene where she's like, I still hate you, but I'm gonna take this. Right? Like the mom, right, is like, I still hate you, but I'm gonna take this. And then it leads to something really cool where Luke is like sleeping, right, and he's like, somebody approaching the room, right? He could just sense it. He's like, somebody's approaching my room. And then all of a sudden, Tart and Maha catch this guy, right? You're like, oh shit. So the other companies are sending spies and assassins to try to kidnap Luke and figure out how to make the moisturizer, because this is like a really groundbreaking thing. And it leads to a whole thing with Maha and Tart, where they're sort of going back and forth on, like, how they're going to torture this guy, and how they I will say, like, there's this little like back and forth where Tart and Maha seem as though they're going to have like a bit of a rivalry over Luke, and I was very much like not down for that. Thankfully it doesn't stay that way. These two actually end up being very sweet together, even though they're, you know, torturing spies and assassins. They also hang out, you know, when Luke is away. And they hang out, and they, like, actually spend a good amount of time just kind of cooking together and hanging out and having fun when he's away, right? So they actually have a very, like, sort of sweet bond, and it's genuinely really nice to see other characters in the show have a connection to other people besides just Luke. Although, judging by that last scene, I feel bad for my boy, because, okay, that my boy, I don't know if maybe I'm projecting, but my boy had, like, ace panic all over his face. But he's like, no, don't worry about that. That's, no, this is not what you think. And then the girls were like, oh, but we could help with that. And he's like, I guess this is part of my plan now, right? And poor Luke's, like, to me, I was like, come here, Show. Come here. Is Luke ace? Is Luke ace? Are we kindred spirits, Luke and I? Am I projecting? I might be projecting, but I'm gonna pretend in my mind that Luke is ace. I like that idea, actually. That he's ace, but he's like, if I have to do this, I'll just do it, right? Because he's like, I like the idea that he's like, it's all for the greater good, right? But yeah, that whole, I will admit, that scene was really funny. Like, when he's like, no, it's nothing, everything's fine. Where, you know, he wakes up feeling pretty strong, pretty solid. You know what I'm saying? Pretty standing firm. Anyway. Yeah, is Luke ace? I'm curious. Because I know there's gonna be a bunch of dude bros who are like, no, maybe he's not. It's like, shush, I'm having fun. Leave me alone. Let me have fun with the show. But yeah, I love that headcanon that Luke is ace, and that's why he was so wildly uncomfortable. It's like, get the fuck away from me. Also, Maha's like his sister now, so like, ew, right? But like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, she's his sister in title. Right, but it's still weird because, you know, it's still weird. But like, I'd understand if somebody, I can already see someone in the comments being like, well, they only knew each other for a certain amount of time, and she liked him before that, and the sister thing is a cover, and blah blah blah. I get it, but it's still weird. It's still weird. Tart and Luke could be a ship. It's not my favorite ship for Luke. In fact, I don't really have a ship for Luke. I'm normally a shippy guy. Don't really have any ships in this show. Actually, that's not true. Kian and, I can't remember the mom's name. Luke's parents. I like them. It's canon. I normally don't ship canon ships because they're boring, but those two are cute. Anyway. That's not the end of the video. I wasn't clapping because it's the end of the video. The other thing that I want to talk about this week is something that I'm really glad they brought back up again. It involves Maha. They brought back the friends, which I was like, oh my god. Okay, so last week, I don't know if you remember, but I was like, I was very torn on how I felt about last week's episode, because, like, wow, it was a lot, and it could be really, really sort of misunderstood by other people on how they feel about it, because it's a very sort of uncomfortable set of events. I can understand if somebody told me that they were wildly uncomfortable with it. I actually think they handled this with such grace, like bringing the friends back and having them help Maha run the store, right? Because now all the girls are working, they all have jobs, they're all taken care of. They're, like, you can tell that they're in a much better mental state. Like, they haven't forgotten everything that's happened, but they are prepared to move on with their lives. I thought that bringing the friends back was a really good touch. I was kind of concerned that we would just, like, never see them again. So to have them come back was super nice. I really appreciated it. And again, it tells me that the author is aware that, yeah, maybe Redo of a Healer was kind of like a bet. I don't know if it was a bet or because I've heard different stories, and now I'm like not even sure what to believe. Because from my understanding, he wrote Redo of a Healer as a way to get attention on his name, so that eventually when he released other books like World's Finest Assassin, they would get more attention. I've also heard people say that he wrote it because he wanted to see how far he could push the boundaries. I've also heard people say that he wrote Redo on a bet. I don't know what's true anymore because everybody says a different story. What I do know is that it's very clear to me that whatever Redo was not their real self, and that they're pouring a lot of their true skill into World's Finest Assassin. It's not the greatest isekai of all time. If you saw my isekai tier list from the other day, you'll know how I feel about the show, but I do think that it's a really solid show, and I do think that the writer has a lot of, like, really good ideas, and they have yet to really fumble. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's amazing. It's just, like, a lot of, like, oh, that's a good idea. It's not, like, an amazing idea, but I'm like, oh, that's a good concept, right? Like, oh, okay, what are you gonna do with that? Oh, that's a cool thing to do with that, right? It's just a lot of, like, okay, that's neat. That's cool. That's neat. It's just solid, right? It's nice. It's nice to have a show that's not like trying and failing. It'd be great if it was like succeeding amazingly, but it's also nice to have a show that's just like, that's good. Good soup. Good soup. Oh, also before I forget, number 423, the rapper who gets reincarnated. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, video over. And that's going to do it for another video for this week, everybody. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and set notifications to all. Let all of AniTube know that you are here. And before we go, as always, I have to give a big thank you to my wonderful masters who help keep this channel afloat. And of course, I have to give a special thank you to the Masters of Masters, and they are Izevi, Asaki VT, Elizabeth Just Elizabeth, JCran23, Jeremy P, Matt87 Eagle, Shadow Creative, Shiorans, Stephen G, Stevie W, Trapmaster, Trevor W, and Tristan G. Thank you all so much for your continued support. It means the world to me, and if you too would like to see your name scrolling past the screen, or maybe have your voice shouted out at the end of these videos, be sure to check out that link in the description to our Patreon page, or you can hit the join button right beside the sub button. Either way helps out tremendously, and I thank you a lot for it. And yeah, that's it for me. So until next time, make sure you clean your room. It's filthy. Seriously, a clean room is a clean mind. Just think about it, okay? Anyway, bye.